Hello everyone, this is Martin and welcome back to another weekly video. I always give you really good advice, and for this week I've got something really interesting. This is kind of a trading alert, but I've got to give you my biggest #1 trading tip ever, okay? And this is important because it's my biggest piece of advice and it's going to help your trading career. Before I start, I want to say hello to all my fellow traders from around the world, those guys and gals who are trading and working very hard to make some money trading, as well as all the local traders here in the Toronto, Canada area, my friends and fellow traders. So let's continue. I want to remind you that last week, in my last week's video, I said that there was only one thing that mattered, and this is actually the #1 rule for traders. It is such a big rule that I don't want you to forget it. It's don't lose money, and this is, like I said, the #1 piece of trading advice that I can give you. Now, my biggest tip ever, let's get to it, okay? Close your losing position. This could be a little bit controversial, but I want to explain this. I want you to close your losing position sooner than later, before you lose everything, okay? And I'm sure a lot of you can resonate with this message, because I'm sure a lot of you have lost some positions which you know you should have closed sooner. Now, why do traders fail? Okay, traders fail because they allow a losing trade to keep losing more money, and this is one of the top reasons why traders fail. Other reasons for failure are over trading, and the position size that you open a trade with is just far too large. So in Forex, it's called a lot size. Now, there are some really big reasons for closing your losing position, okay? #1, right here, I want you to prevent your loss from getting bigger, okay? This is a huge problem. So you've got a loss on your trading account, or you've got a position, you're losing money, and you're wondering if you should close it right now, or you should not close it because you think the position may reverse and you're going to get profit at some point in time. But it's important to understand that you want to prevent your loss from getting much bigger than it is and out of control. The next thing is here, you want to wrestle back control over your mind. Often when you're losing money and you've got 1 or 2 positions that are open and they are in a losing position, your mind takes over all of a sudden, and you could have a brain freeze. You're not sure what to do next. You could be under a lot of stress, and again, that prevents you from closing a trade. And finally, #3, I want you to become humble again. A lot of you traders out there, you think you're smarter than the markets, and you are not. You are not smarter than the markets. I can tell you through experience that the markets will always beat you out if you think you've got the edge, or you think you've gained enough experience, and you think you're going to eventually be right. But I will tell you right now, and based on my experience, that is not the case, okay? Your losses can spiral out of control, and this is the problem when you don't close a position. Okay, your losses can grow quickly, really quickly. Ask yourself, how many times did you allow a losing trade to grow bigger and bigger? Why didn't you close a trade sooner? Why did you watch your account deplete and blow up? And remember, in my last video, I mentioned that a lot of traders blow up their accounts. It's quite easy to do. Why did you endure the extreme stress and emotional storm as you watched your account fall apart? You lost your mind. Okay, now this is important because this is exactly what happens when you stare at your computer screen and you see your position losing more and more money. you've got to wrestle back control over your mind. Okay, that's the first thing. And that's another reason why you've got to be more disciplined in order to close the trade, the losing trade. How do you react emotionally when you start losing money? Does your mind freeze and prevent you from acting rationally? Does your stomach turn over in knots? Do you feel physically sick? And it's crazy, but yes, trading can make you physically sick, can give you all the symptoms of you having a really, really bad reaction to something. Do you just want to close the computer and walk away in distress? I know some traders actually do this. They're losing money. They see their positions losing more money. Instead of closing the trade, they will actually just walk away and want to forget about that. I mean, you might as well crawl into bed and pull a cover over your head and just forget about trading, right? But that's not the way it should be. Have you lost your mind, and are you willing to trade rationally? Okay? Smarty Pants. Hey, Smarty Pants, that's you. You know who I'm talking to. Those traders out there who think they're really smarter than the markets. It's time to get back to being humble and realize that that's not the case, right? Okay, would you rather be, would you rather make more money and, learn from the markets, or would you rather lose money because you think you're smarter and you want to keep holding on to losing trades? You don't want to close a losing trade because you think price will eventually turn around, right? We've all done that in the past. Do you think that your large account balance will withstand this temporary setback? Now, this is especially to those traders out there who've actually deposited quite a large amount of money in their accounts. They may have $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 or more in their account. And, I know what's going on in your mind. You're rationalizing, well, I've got so much money in my Forex trading account that, hey, I can afford to lose some money. But that's not what's going to save you. I want you to understand that. That's a bad way of thinking. Finally, are you too proud to give anything back to the markets? I know a lot of you've made money maybe consistently, and all of a sudden you get in a position where you're losing big money, and are you too proud to give back your hard-earned profits, the profits that took you a while to make, right? Do you think you're smarter than the markets? That's the final question. Okay, now, your easiest decision is one where you will realize that it's time to close a losing position, okay? Losing money is bad anytime. Yes, I understand that. I agree with you. However, losing more money than you need to is terrible and can be traumatic when you delay the inevitable. And it will happen. Sooner or later, you're in a position where you've lost more money than you wanted to, and now you're again wondering what to do next. Do you know, in fact, a large number of traders actually give up trading altogether? And that's sad. That's the sad reality. They got into trading, they perhaps even traded for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months or longer, maybe a year or longer, and all of a sudden they've lost their money, they've blown up their account, and all of a sudden they get out of trading. Their fear of losing any more money prevents them from giving trading another legitimate chance. Hey, it happens to everyone, but doesn't mean that you're a bad trader. Doesn't mean that you should give up. You just have to trade smarter, and that's what this series of videos is all about, guys. I'm trying to give you some smart advice that you can follow. It's easy advice. It's not difficult. Understand that closing a losing trade can be your easiest decision, okay? Your easiest, not your hardest, and most likely your best decision, okay? So that is truly, truly important to understand. Okay, let's heed the following road warning signs. Okay, on your Forex road journey, you should be well advised to pay attention to the warning signs that your trading is in trouble, okay? there are times when you look at your account balance and you realize that, hey, things are not going like they're supposed to go, right? Now, I've got this for you right here. Let's take a look at what happens and what you need to do to recover losses. I don't think a lot of you really understand this, but this is truly, here's a chart that shows you the breakdown. So if you lose, let me just get my pointer here. If you lose only 5 or 10%, that's no big deal, because you only need to make back 5%, 11% on your account to break even again. So this column here is the gain that you need, the account, the amount of money that you, or the amount percentage that you need to break even again once you've lost the 5%. Now, it gets really bad here at the 20% mark. So if you've lost 20% of your overall account balance, let's say you had $1,000, you've lost $200, you need now to make 25% just to get back to break even. It gets critically worse when you lose 40% of your overall account balance. Let's say you only had $500 to start with, and you've lost 40%, right? So that's critical amount of money, and that's $200 you've lost, and now you need to make back 67%. Look at that, way more than half, okay? But it gets truly, truly terrifying if you've lost a total of whopping 50% of your account balance. You started off with, let's say, 5,000 or 500, it doesn't really matter, high or low. If you lost a total of 50%, you need to make up again 100%. So you're following trades, you have to have 100% success rate in order to make back, just to break even. That's not even to make money, but just to break even, to get your money back. Okay, so that's terrible. Of course, it gets a lot worse at 75%, 90%. I don't ever want you to get down to here, but up to here, these are the warning signs I talk about. And I've got some specific advice what to do when you hit a 20% loss in your account balance, or 40% or 50%. So let's take a look at that right now, okay? And on my next slide, you can see this is my specific advice. So on your first warning is caution, slow down, bumpy road ahead, okay? If your account balance has lost 20%, okay? Your second warning is stop and rest on the roadside. Re-examine your bad habits. If your account balance has lost a minimum of 40%. So by this time, I mean, you really need to stop and rest and re-examine everything that's going on in your trading process. Your final warning, and this is the most important, stop. I want you to stop completely. Stop and go home, park the car, okay, park the car, stop altogether, stop trading if your account balance has lost at least 50%. And I'm not kidding, guys, because again, I base this on my own experience. Once you get to these limits here of losing money, you're going to have a really terrible feeling in your stomach. Your mind is, at this point in time, you're not in control of your trading habits. You need to stop and re-examine your trading career, okay? Now, before you close a trade, there's one thing I do want to say though, okay? There are times when you do not have to close a losing trade. At this point in time, I want you to think, observe, rethink, okay? When you have traded the same winning strategy for some time and you have your stops in place. In other words, you have had a winning strategy and you're using the same winning strategy, but all of a sudden you find yourself in a loss. Just stop, think, observe, and rethink if you should close your trade. Next, when you have checked a higher time frame and the loss is within the higher time frame stop risk parameters. Now, this is important. A lot of traders, some of you or many of you may not understand what I'm talking about. But when you're trading, always check the next higher time frame. So if you're trading on the 1 hour charts, check the 4 hour charts to see about to see where your stop loss parameters should have been. Check your support and resistance level to see if prices reach those areas. See if you are truly in danger or you're just micromanaging your account right now. In other words, you're looking at your account on a smaller time frame, but not really seeing how much room price still has to move on the higher time frame. So number 2 is truly important. One day I'm going to have a special video on this. Okay. Number 3, when you have not yet waited for a candle to close fully. A lot of you panic really early and you don't wait for a candle to close, and this is something you should always do, whatever time frame you're at. So always wait for the candle to close. Next, 4. You have traded for over a year with confidence, and all of the above, 1, 2, 3, all of the above is in check. In other words, everything's still working okay. 1, 2, and 3 here. You've been trading with confidence. Things are going generally well, but all of a sudden you find yourself one losing position. So just before you close your trade, think, observe, and rethink if that's the right thing to do. Now, if you have closed your trade, and after you've closed your trade, I want you to analyze your loss. Okay? Above all, don't panic. This is not the time to panic. Analyze the trade entry and try to learn from your mistake. Could you have made a better decision regarding your trade entry? Review your losing trade over the next few days. So after you've closed your losing trade, next few days, keep looking at that currency pair that you just closed. Did the trade continue losing? Was there a much better entry that you could have taken if you had a lot more patience? In other words, re-examine your entry criteria and see if you took a good entry and the trade went against you, or could you have waited for a better entry? Finally, how do you feel emotionally a few days later after closing the trade? Did you take another trade shortly after? In other words, did you get back right on the saddle, or let's say behind the wheel of the car, and keep driving again after you close the losing trade? So that's important. Get back, make sure you're emotionally back in check. Your mind and healthy recovery. Understand that controlling risk is your most important job as a trader. Losses can't be avoided. I know that. You know that. We all know that. But the size of the loss can be controlled. Reward yourself when you win. This is important, guys. I don't care how you reward yourself, but when you win a trade, reward yourself in some way. It may be buying yourself something. It may be giving yourself a little sweet treat. Maybe whatever. And relax your mind when you lose. Now, this is important on the other side. So when you're losing, or when you've lost a trade, you close the trade, okay, it's time to relax and reflect on what happened, but relax first and then look at the trade afterwards. There's always another trade coming. Okay, my personal experience. I know I've blown up several accounts in the beginning, my early days of trading, and I can tell you it's the most awful feeling. I once, moved my account balance 100%. I gained 100%, all to see it completely blow up in just one bad trade. And the biggest reason, 1, I wasn't watching my computer screen full time. 2, I didn't take it seriously. 3, I did not have a stop loss. And so you need to understand where your stops have to go. If I would have used a stop loss, I would have lost maybe maximum 20%. But instead, I let the trade run, and then like many of you, I thought the trade would reverse into a profit situation. I was waiting, even as the trade was going further against me, and I was losing more money. Guess what? It never did really turn around. And looking back today, it was one of those periods in time where the trend to the downside was horrific. It just dropped 600, 700, 800 pips, and this was in my early days. Okay, so heed my advice for this video very carefully. You're going to do well if you do. Finally, what's your experience? What's the largest account size you blew up? I'd like to know. Perhaps you can send me a comment down below the video. I appreciate those comments, okay? How did you react afterwards, and what did you do to get back into the game? Did you quit trading altogether? I really would like to know to know, and appreciate all your comments. Finally, I've got one piece of danger ahead for you. Beware on Tuesday, January 15th, the UK Parliament vote on the EU withdrawal. It happens on Tuesday, January 15th, okay? This is important. So, all the British pound currency crosses and European indices are likely to experience significant volatility heading into the vote as well as in the aftermath. Okay, so this includes the increased risk of sizable market gaps on Monday open. So if you, many of you should just stay away from trading, especially the British pound currency crosses. Just beware of this, that this is going to create some problems in the market. And finally, guys, hey, I want you to subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, there will be many more to come on all important matters for your trading success in the FX markets. So don't forget to click on the like button below and the subscribe links as well. You will also need to click on the tiny bell to get my videos. If you already are a subscriber, I thank you kindly from the bottom of my heart. And for those new people watching, please subscribe, okay? And take care, everyone. Beware of this coming week. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.